on Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Make sure you check the link down below for those of you who are watching, and for those of you listening, make sure you check on nerdycrafter.com for all the options. Today's podcast is sponsored by me, which is from Not Another Crap Kit, which is the limited quantities craft kit that I personally handmade the mold for. If you haven't gotten yours yet, they are again in limited quantities. Link will be down below, as well as the pinned comment. Hello and welcome to Coffee and Conversation, the podcast where nothing is off table. I'm Jackie.
I'm Patrick.
And yes, as you saw, Patrick is joining us today. For those of you who don't know, Pat is my
husband.
And he was in the previous podcast where we had Sika and her husband and me and my husband. And after that one video, do you remember what you told me?
I became popular.
So he was like, I'm in one video, therefore
I'm a YouTuber.
I'm a YouTuber. He's like, I'm a rock star. And you know what? Many of you Grains absolutely loved him and figured, you know what? I asked him if he would be in the mood to do a podcast today, and he was all up for it.
Yep.
What made you say yes?
To help you out, actually.
Aw.
You were pretty upset today.
Oh, you know what? He's absolutely right. It was one of those days where nothing was going right. Woke up in the morning very enthusiastic, very willing to actually do things, and I had things on my schedule.
Very enthusiastic is a big word, but...
Well, I think it's because I'm very monotone, right?
Yeah. And it takes you a bit of time in the morning to get started too, to be honest.
Yeah. That's an absolute truth. Like, I'll be up at 8:30 to put Angel out of his sleep cage. And then how long will it take me to wake up, per se?
I would say at least 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah, that's how long it'll take me to degrog, and my face is usually like...
Poofy.
Yeah, super poofy. For those of you who can't see me and you're just listening, my face is like this. It's so poofy. So it takes a while for my face to de-swell and have less inflammation on it. So yeah, but let's talk about after that. I was enthusiastic.
Yeah, No, you were.
Yeah,
You were. Until we had some construction guys show up.
Yeah, unannounced.
Yep.
So they decided, hey, this is a great idea for us to do...
Yard work,
which means... and and all these sounds are right outside my window. Yeah.
And the door knocking every 15 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, they're like...
It bothered me all day also at work. Every other minute I was hearing, not other minute, but every other 15, 20 minutes, ding dong.
Yeah.
Tuk, 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 at the door.
That's basically it. So they were constantly asking us, hey, do you want things this way? Do you want things that way? And so I was the one answering the door. But even before that, I had a minor food poisoning.
Yeah.
So I was very nauseous. I was very green. And that was very unpleasant.
Yeah.
It was one of those days. So...
Yeah,
you're laughing at me.
But it's true. Pretty much was that after breakfast you got a bit sick.
Mm-hmm.
Then they came to work.
Yep.
So that kind of put your work on hold until now.
Yeah, until now. And we're talking now is like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So
almost your bedtime.
That's almost my bed. You're gonna tuck me in, make me into a little mummy.
Yeah.
Wrap me up.
So you can have a good night of sleep, be full of energy tomorrow morning.
And then start all over again. Hopefully, it would be great not to have the food poisoning.
Yeah.
Again, I am suspecting...
That was unnecessary,
Yeah, I'm suspecting it was the eggs.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion.
They probably were on the counters way too long.
Maybe. It was on the counter for like an hour or two.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. It's warm weather too, so that didn't help. I thought I had a dragon stomach, but obviously not.
So we know that eggs don't last on the counters more than an hour.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, lessons learned.
Lesson learned. Don't leave your eggs on the counter for an hour before cooking it, or two. Just don't leave it out on the counter. I know some eggs are okay because in North America, I think, is one of the only countries where eggs are supposed to be refrigerated.
Are they?
Yeah. And the reason is because, if I'm not mistaken, correct me for those of you listening, but in North America, we actually wash the eggs from the membrane after they're laid, which means that it removes that protection.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it so that the egg is porous.
it's possible.
Whereas remember when we went to Japan, many times the eggs were not in the fridge.
You're right. Actually, some of the times on the alleys, some
Yeah.
of them were and some of them weren't.
Yeah.
Actually.
So, and even in Egypt, eggs are not in the fridge.
Hmm.
They're outside in the heat.
Yeah, that's maybe another problem.
We're going to have that discussion about Egypt a whole other time. But all this to say, actually today's topic is not my food poisoning and my bad day and my supportive husband. I mean, we could talk about you if you want to.
It's okay.
It's okay. You're not the focus of today's attention. So we're actually going to be talking about YouTubers being terrible friends, and having YouTubers as friends is not necessarily a good thing.
Not just friends.
But what?
Terrible people.
Oh, hey, you petting me now? You petting me? You're saying something and then you're petting me.
You know, it's called a bit of balance, you know?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. You want to throw it?
Yep.
You want to dish it?
Yep.
You gonna fight me?
Not necessary.
Not-
I got my point across.
Okay. So we really want to talk about YouTubers and our experience with YouTubers, because since I have had the opportunity to be on YouTube and make YouTuber friends, Pat, by consequence, also got to meet YouTubers.
Yeah.
So he was kind of put into this world, and he's looking at it from the outside.
Into this world.
Yeah.
That's.
It's a whole YouTuber world.
It is. It is a bit different.
It is.
It's true that we had so many experiences that was with people we met through YouTube, actually.
Yeah.
Even a lot of people we met in Japan, we met through YouTube.
Yeah, and you do tell me that some of these experiences are some of your favorite
Mm-hmm.
in terms of memories that we've had with others. And
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? I mean, among the first times we went to Japan, I mean, I remember when you, I didn't think it was gonna work out. You reached out back in the days we were watching those J vloggers.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
there were three of them, I think, that we were watching at that time. It was Sharna,
Yeah.
I think Rachel and June,
Mhm.
and Canada Jin back in the days.
Yeah.
These ones were the three of them, and I think you just started to have your channel at that time, and you started to do those little earrings. the
Yeah,
cat
that's
earrings.
true. I totally forgot about those earrings.
Yeah, and I remember you reached out to them, and surprisingly, they actually answered back.
Yeah.
They answered back, and you decided to send them earrings to I think all three of them.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think it was all three of them.
Yeah.
Actually, that you sent, and kind of continued talking with them, and eventually when we decided to go to Japan, I know you contacted the three of them, I think. And
I did. But before we went to Japan, because we have to give a little bit of context, even though Charla was one of the first ones, Canada Jin was one of the other ones, and Rachel and June, I want to be very clear that we did not meet with Canada Jin because there was a huge bit of drama.
Yeah, it's true.
You remember that?
Yeah, it's true. At that time, I don't think they were on talking terms anymore.
No, there was a huge drama and huge amount of betrayal. You see, that's what I say when YouTubers are not
True.
great friends. So there was a huge betrayal of jealousy because of views and numbers. And so Canada Jin kind of became the enemy of all the other YouTubers. And so, yeah, that's...
No, but there was more to it. I remember. There was more to it because it's what's it called? It wasn't an open war kind of thing. It was more of I think she had different accounts and was bashing them behind on their videos also.
Yeah.
I think that's what, and I forgot how they figured that out, that it was her, but she had multiple accounts, and that's where the drama kind of took over.
Exactly. She was commenting on their videos through different accounts, just saying the nastiest thing ever, and then they basically outed her, and they exposed her, and kicked her out of the entire J-vlogging community because of jealousy and pettiness. And I think there were even Reddit or forum posts.
I think there were. I think it was pretty out there actually.
Yeah, and even to the point where where if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, this person actually gave away one of the YouTubers' addresses.
Address. I think address, and especially I think there was a bit of stalkers afterwards next to their house. So it was really not a cool thing to do.
It was nasty.
That was not a cool thing.
It was nasty. It was really, really an absolutely terrible situation to be in.
Hey, it's true. You guys are terrible people.
Hang on.
Who does that?
That's the thing, is that I think because the space is very competitive, it makes it so that some people think that in order to stomp out competition, you have to,
stomp out competition.
Literally, stomp them out, or just get them out of your hair, even though they were both doing equally well.
Mm-hmm. I think at that time they were all about the same level.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long, I don't remember exactly, but they were all doing pretty good.
Yeah,
they were all, I think, profiting from the fact of them being all popular, because we ended up watching all the videos of all of them all the time. So it
was very collaborative.
Yeah.
But it ended up being very petty.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming the ones that were protecting themselves. I'm blaming, obviously, the person who was attacking the others. Mm-hmm. Now, again, these don't go and do anything with these channels because it's been long gone. That's well over 6 years ago.
6? I think it's close to 10 now.
No, I haven't. My channel hasn't been 10 years. No. So it's probably 6-7 years.
No, it's more than that, because I think it's probably the second time we went to Japan.
Yeah.
So it was really at the very beginning. I think you had like 5,000 subs at that time.
25,000.
25?
Yeah. No. 8,000.
Yeah, you were really, really, really small.
I was a little baby channel.
Yeah. Your baby channel at that time. So that's why it was surprising, because all of those, all of them had quite a bit more.
Because I remember when Rachel promoted my stuff on her channel, I got like 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah, you get a huge boost right away.
Yeah, that
was the biggest boost that you ever had at that time.
That was insane. But the fact that these people...
so excited.
Yeah, and I know I'm saying like YouTubers and YouTuber as friends is not necessarily a good thing, but there are some great people there. And of course, when I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about my YouTuber friends who are artists in the community. Mm-hmm. Those are great, wonderful, wholesome people. But there still are guards up.
Yeah.
So I think one of the examples we'll give, I think we'll talk about Charlotte, because Charlotte's cool.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about her because we became really good friends. But at first, do you remember how it went, Pat?
Yeah, well, I know what's it called. I was surprised also because when we were planning all that trip, so you made some arrangements to meet her. So I was already surprised that she actually accepted to meet you from there. But in the end, I think afterwards, we ended up meeting her for lunch also.
That's true, yeah.
But it was also kind of not last minute thing, but I didn't even think that was going to work out too. And afterwards, once we got along with her a good bit, that's what she was also saying. It was... she met us here for lunch because that way, in case if it was boring, she could just leave after lunch and never see us again.
Yeah. She met us during her lunch hour because she could split at any time.
Yeah, just based on the work part. But again, it ended up being one of the funnest experiences at that time because I think we met her. We went for lunch. We had a great time. Then we met her at night again, I think, or the following days. But we met her a good 4 or 5 times the next. Yeah,
she ended up taking the next day off from work to hang out with us. So we really got along really well. But there are creeps on YouTube. There are so many people where they put on such a fake facade that you feel like, oh, I know this person. I'm really comfortable with this person. And then you meet them in real life. You're like, what the heck was that?
But who did you meet like that?
So for me, I actually put out a whole video on that, and some people really were happy that I called out these YouTubers, and other people were like, well, just because they don't talk to you doesn't mean they're bad people. There's a difference, in my opinion, between someone who's uncomfortable to talk to other people and someone who's guarded versus someone who's genuinely just an asshole. So
which ones are the asshole category people?
Okay, so I'm going to go into the asshole category people because sometimes I think, for me, again, I've looked up to these people, and we were in a YouTube gathering at VidCon where it's only the big channels hanging out. So it's not like I was going there to, be something or, steal their audience, right? Everyone has a fairly large audience on YouTube. So I'm going to give an example of people who were guarded but extremely nice. So you know that they weren't mean. There was not a mean bone in there. And for me, that was Simply Nailogical. So I approached Simply Nailogical, super sweet, super just welcoming, and very much so ready to talk. But there were guards up. And you know what? I don't blame her, because who's like that?
You are.
I am. 100%. Even though I went out of my comfort zone to talk to other people, I'm generally a very guarded person, and Pat can attest to that.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I think, historically already you're pretty guarded.
Mm-hmm.
And I think since the last few friends that you made also on YouTube, actually, that you met, I feel like you've gotten more guarded with people that you meet through YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not other people. I think other people was fine from other places, but from YouTube, right away your guard is right away up, and it's like, okay, what do they want?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to your mind. What do they want from me?
Exactly. And I know it sounds very conceited to be like, oh, nobody wants to use you, like, chill, calm down. And that's not the case at all. It actually, every time, without fail, has hurt me. When I put my guards down, I am legitimately broken, I think. Even though I do keep a very monotone facade. It's hard for you to sometimes tell you can tell when I'm angry.
Yeah.
Because my vibe is different.
Yeah, and it's better I leave the house. It's just safer for everyone.
Safer for everyone.
Just go far. Change countries.
Take the plane, go somewhere else.
I don't know what happened, but just in case it's me.
Just in case you don't know what you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the person or the example that basically Pat is referring to is, I had a meetup at one point and met someone who came to the meetup and was really into YouTubing and all that stuff. And this person really just became our friend.
Yeah, actually for maybe 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, and they were here every week. It's not like I was inviting them, but they were.
But we enjoyed hanging out too.
Exactly, yeah.
What's it called? It wasn't kind of they're pushing themselves into us. I felt it was mutual friendships, actually. It was a real friendship, I would say.
They were like, hey, want to hang out this weekend? We're like, yeah, cool, let's hang out this weekend. And we would do basically so many things together. We would go out, we would do like festivals, go to festivals together. We would go
play games, actually, most of the time. That I would, like, what's it called? They would come here, or we would go over there, play some games.
Yeah,
some
just
board
chat
games,
and chill.
video games.
So it was a very nice kind of relationship, even though I did have my guards up because I saw some red flags at the beginning, and I did mention them to you.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was like, something feels a little off. And that was really at the beginning. And he's like, no, I think you're imagining it. I don't think.
No, it's not that. It's like, but I didn't see anything bad about it. Because I knew that, what's it called? At first glance, she got really interested with you about the YouTube part. It was a lot about the YouTube. So I was finding that fine. And I figured that would just go away after a few months, kind of thing. You know what I mean? After you meet a person a few times, you kind of like, okay, it's a person.
It's a person.
It's a person.
Like, we are people.
Is that their work is that, and that's pretty much it. Like anybody else, has a different type of work. So that's why. So I felt like, at least for me, I was wrong, but it was not. But it's true, because in the end, it didn't work out. But what's it called? I didn't see it as a red flag at that time.
But for me, it was kind of a red flag, especially even, I would say, about even a year after we were friends together. We ended up going to Comic-Con, and I love going to Comic-Con. It's basically, for those of you who don't know, it's a huge convention where they sell fan art of either comic books or anime and your favorite cartoon or TV show.
Bring your credit card.
Yeah, bring your credit card. You're going to spend money. And when we went there, I was kind of looking at the artist's alley, and I was looking at stuff, and I'm not the kind of person that goes out there and parades what I do. I'm not like, hey, I'm a YouTuber, or hey, I like free stuff. give it to me for, what's it called? When you expose something for, not expose, but promote. Like, I don't ask for free things. But when I was with that person at Comic-Con, and I don't know if you know this, every
Probably
time...
not.
You don't know this, because I think you were with the husband.
I was with the husband most of the
You
time.
were with the husband at the time. So when we would go to the artist alley and see some of these people's creations, and I'm like, oh, this is really nice, and this and that. And then she would say to the person sitting on the other side of the table, so the artist, she would be like, do you know who this is? You didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know that.
So she would say, like, you know who this is? And I would, like, nudge her, like, I'm embarrassed. Like, don't say anything. She's like, she's Nerdy Crafter, and she has, like, over X amount of subscribers. So I didn't like being the trophy.
Yeah, but you're my trophy wife. So how does that work if you don't like to be a trophy?
No, you know what I mean. Now everyone's going to swoon over you, you know? You slick little son of a biscuit. But yeah, so I think that's what I call it. It's like someone being the trophy friend. And again, I'm not exaggerating this because this is not the first time something like this happens. I was also invited by someone who had the audacity to request that I show up to their kids' school as a guest speaker in order to boost their kids' popularity.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Special. It's different.
It's different. It makes it so that I know, again, I
You're
don't
not
think
a person at that time.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I'm anything special. That's just me. I'm not on a high horse. I don't think I'm anything special. I just don't like being treated like that either.
No, because what's it called? You end up being pretty much just your occupation defines you.
Yeah.
Defines everything that you are. When in reality, yeah, if you would do a different type of, even as a teacher, they wouldn't invite you to come over.
Right, that's true. Nobody invites me as a teacher. Nobody wants to hang out with the teacher.
It's usually boring people, you know.
Yeah, well, in fact, my students block me on certain, like, Discord channels. You know what I mean? The channels where they're cheating on exams. I'm very well aware of that. So, as the teacher, obviously you're blocked from certain things. But as the YouTuber, my guards are really high up. And it makes it so that I can't make friends other than the ones, that I, in the art community. Because we're a bunch of introverts. Yeah.
But that's why I would say, even though you did, especially lately, you did manage to have some good friendships also made with, in the art community. I think that's what we saw even when you did the rewind.
Yes.
It was a lot of people that was pretty approachable that you could interact with. I think that's the interesting part. But it's but in
real life, how many friends do I have? Like in actual, in where we live, as we are, with physical distances being manageable.
Not much, because even when you
No, be honest.
A few.
No, be honest. There you go. I have no friends, and I'm not saying that. Yeah, here I'm not saying that to be pitiful. I genuinely have no friends. The only friends that I do have are my siblings. These are the people I look forward to hanging out with, to talking to. That if we have good news, other than Pat, they are the first people that I'll contact. But I don't have physical close friends because.
Because what?
Because I'm guarded.
You're guarded too. But I think, for sure, for some of the times where, when you're in a YouTube setting, at least in Montreal, it's normal that, I wouldn't be friends with any of those people, to be honest.
Yeah, let them know, like, some of the experiences you had of those conferences where I was invited as a speaker. Like, what was your general vibe of the YouTubers? And we're not even talking about YouTubers with big numbers either.
Oh, yeah. I felt like I just stepped into Hollywood for a second.
That's true.
It was terrible.
Yep.
And it's like nobody was looking at... everybody was taking themselves so seriously over there. It was terrible. I didn't like the vibe one bit most of the time. It was very much a lot of... it was just Hollywood wannabe kind of vibe. Yeah,
you had that like you said, the vibe was just so high up there, and they took themselves so seriously.
Yeah, it's like most of them, it's like it's very rare. It's like I dropped you off, or I even went to pick you up at some of those events, and all of the events in Montreal, I think you stopped going there for that reason, because it's just can't really interact with people.
Yeah, and it's and the funny thing is I also got snobbed over there, even before they knew I was the guest speaker.
Yeah.
So they would snob me. They didn't want anything to do with me. You know, they thought maybe I was trying to use them, or something like that. And then I was the guest speaker, and then, you know, they didn't...
People want to use you.
Then yeah, exactly.
Suddenly started to exist for all of them.
Yeah, and I think that's why, again, I'm guarded, is because I'm there trying to just genuinely meet people. Like, I want to meet people. I want to get to know people. So when I say, hey, if you do see me in public, come and say hi. Genuinely, I mean it. But then when I go and say hi to others... They don't have to talk to me, but you don't have to be condescending either. But then you don't come and talk to me like we're best friends after you find out that I'm, you know, quote unquote, the bigger channel there. That's not cool. Like, no. That immediately gives me red flags that you're a user.
Yeah, exactly. I think especially here in Montreal, but I think like what's it called? The last few times when you ended up going more to, I think it's VidCon. VidCon or VidSummit?
I went to VidCon once, and I went to VidSummit once.
Yeah, I feel like in those ones you actually made some real friends.
Yeah.
Like the ones you met and everything. I think the fact of maybe dealing with maybe channels that were more your size, they felt maybe a bit less, maybe you and them felt a bit less about like, okay, either of you wants to use the other one.
Yeah.
I think at that time you kind of don't see yourself as somebody really wanting to take something from you, and I think that's probably what helped on both sides, like on you and also the other people who could be guarded, but it's like you're the same kind of size and everything.
Yeah, but that's inherently an issue, I think, because if the only way you can make a friend on YouTube is based solely on numbers, that still says something. I know, I'm not blaming people for being guarded. I know people who have bigger channels, like me, with some other smaller channels, who approached me with the need to just have a collaboration without getting to know me as a person or even talk to me as a person, that I know it's just a transaction. It's a business So I myself am guarded. But that's what I'm saying. This is an issue because there are so many missed opportunities to make a friend who could have been genuine. And I'm saying that probably from the point of view of, I have friends who have channels that are much smaller. And I'm talking like 5,000 subscribers, and they've grown. But I haven't, you know, but I'm traumatized because I don't want to collaborate with people because I've been used. So I know I'm guarded 100%. And I know that's what I'm saying. There's something inherently wrong with the way YouTubers can't make friends.
But I think it's because so many of them want to make it on YouTube, so they see you guys as the ones that have a bit more subscribers. They see you guys as like a stepping stone that you can use.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it worries everyone a bit more. That's I would say that's the guess, and I think it's also because, and a lot of you guys are probably guarded because it happens all the time. Or not all the time, because like I said, we made friends. Well, not we. You made friends with.
Well, by
YouTube.
extension, they became your friends too.
Yeah, they have no choice.
I'm sure they would choose you though.
But what's it called? I think other than that, I think it's just most of them end up having a lot of the same experience where they meet someone. It's like, hey, hang out, grab a drink. Yeah. Hang out a bit again. It's like, hey, by the way, can you promote me?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I just understood. It's not genuine again.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I think it's okay for other people to promote, but when after 2-3 meetings you ask to be promoted, then clearly your intentions is not to be friends. It's really just for your own sake, and then you try to use them to have that stepping stone, that little advertisement boost.
Yeah, and I'm not against collaborations. Don't get me wrong. I am 100% for collaborations, but I feel like if I'm going to do a collab, it's got to be someone that I feel like it's going to mesh with, like we click. Because if we click, by extension, it means that you, the listeners, are also going to click with that person, because I see my subscribers as an extension of my family. So I know that their sense of humor is similar to mine, that they're as quirky as I am, and they like to, they like the same things. So I feel like I wouldn't want to introduce my friends to someone creepy. Right?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
I know you're laughing.
No, but I agree, because I've seen a lot of that stuff throughout the years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And let's go back to that same person who was using me for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The one who was constantly introducing me to people at the convention artist table. Did you know who that is? This person invited their friends over to our house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
I remember that too.
So they invited their friends over to our house, and then they came up to us before that person comes over, and they're like, hey, please don't make those, jokes that we usually do together. I'm like, yeah, you mean like usually our mind is in the gutter and we make silly jokes like that. It's like, yeah, don't do that kind of joke with this person. They're a little sensitive. It's like, okay. So first, like right away, there's like, okay, this person is putting on a few masks.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you remember what that person did with the friend that they invited over?
I was about to say that actually the freakiest part of that was that I could see, like, what's it called, being told that some of those friends don't like ABC, but it's wanting to show your craft room, your what's it called, your recording space.
Yeah. So this person was again showing me off to their friend, because that friend that they've known much longer than me was more connected to the bigger circle of friends that they had. So again, I know some people could be devil's advocate and say, hey, this person is just proud of you. Do you think that person was proud of me? Or do you think
they were proud of them, of themselves knowing you
right
at that time?
Yeah.
More, because what's it called, I remember with that case, she asked, it's like, oh, can we go see your studio? And at that time we were just like, you know what, I'm not too comfortable with my little personal space kind of thing. I don't want.
Yeah, I said I don't want to. I said no.
I don't really want to do that. Like I just met those people, and she still, when you were not there, she went to show your room off.
Yep.
That's
I was very offended.
Yeah, who isn't?
Because my craft space and my craft room, first of all, it's a mess.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
That never.
He calls it what? The cavern?
Yeah, the cavern of Alibaba.
The cavern of Alibaba. Because there's treasures and things to be found. It's like a tornado definitely went through it. It's an absolute mess. But I know where things are and where things go, generally speaking.
Yeah, within a week. Within a week of search, you'll find it. Yeah,
I have a very good idea where things are and where things go.
I'm sure you're going to find treasures in a few years of stuff that is extremely valuable.
I would not be surprised. I actually have a drawer that is similar to what Jenna Marbles called the fairy drawer. And
I thought it was the whole room. No?
Well,
each time I open that thing, it turns my stomach.
Oh no! It's not messy. Let's just make that clear. It is, it's not dirty. It's messy.
Yeah.
It's not dirty. Like, if anything, I am the most scared of bugs, and I do not want bugs.
That part is true, but most of the stuff that is missing in the house, I find over there.
Well, it's not that it's missing. It's you ask me, where's the cutting board? I'm like, in the craft room. Where are the toothpicks? In the craft room. Where's our good knife? In the craft room.
Stuff like that.
But it's not missing. I place it there.
You just never return it.
For projects. But yeah, so my craft room really is my sanctuary. It's my space. And when that person did not respect my wishes to not show that space, they brought that person in. And then that person was touching things. They're like, oh, that's so nice. Yeah, they were touching things, and these, like, my resin charms, because the box was open there. I don't remember.
You could find them.
Yeah, because it was actually open on the desk. They're like, okay. Oh, this is so pretty. This is so nice. Oh, I really like this. And I didn't want them to constantly look over everything. So I was like, here, do you want this? You could take this. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. No,
get out.
No, get out. Get the hell out of my room. And then after that, I just had a sour taste in my mouth for the rest of the evening.
Yep.
And I think that for me is, I know it seems subtle, and at first you have these little moments here and there.
But it was, but afterwards, I mean, it ended up being true, because even when we started afterwards, issues started to emerge for different reasons. And afterwards, I remember how, what she told you too.
Yeah.
Where it was.
So hang on, let's make sure that they understand what we mean by issues. You're being very gentle. So when we broke up the damn friendship, because this person was just being extra, and they were being super unreasonable with what they defined as the friendship, because it was whatever worked for them. And for the first time, when I said no, she called me toxic. Yeah. So we ended up breaking up the friendship. And her main concern, what was it?
Was YouTube part. Mm-hmm. Because that's why I remember it was like, well, you know what? Yeah, we thought about it. We can still hang out. We don't want to hang out with you guys that often, but you know, for the YouTube stuff, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, wow, okay.
Yeah, for the YouTube stuff. So she wanted to collab. She wanted us to do YouTube things.
But that's it.
Yeah, but then when I said no, she basically, I like your girl voice, by the way. Mm? I like it when you do girl voices. Yeah, you're like, you know, she said this and that. So, yeah, and then when I said no, we're not doing anything like that, she's like, that's okay. You know, I'm going to have, you know, the universe is going to help me do better, right? Mm-hmm. You remember that conversation specifically. Yeah. And then she had the audacity to call me toxic. Mm-hmm. I'm not a toxic person. At least usually. I'm not a toxic person per se, but I am very guarded because of people like that.
Yeah, I would say after that you had a harder time, except, like I said, the last maybe 2-3 years that you went to those conferences. Mm-hmm. Then I would say you genuinely met people that you enjoyed, and you're super happy when you came back meeting those people.
VidCon was such a beautiful experience, and I got to meet wonderful people like Ace of Clay, Bailey, Chloe, Jazza, Ray. Like I'm gonna say I'm missing a good bit of names, but you can see them on the screen here for those of you who are watching. But I will link them. They're basically the people that we did a lot of the what's it called?
Rewind.
Yeah, the rewind with. Mm-hmm. So these are just absolutely fantastic people. And then in one of the conferences, I also met Mariah Elizabeth. Super sweet. Much shorter than I thought. Much short. I think that's because I'm a short person, so I always expect everyone to be way taller than me. But she was actually not that much taller than me. So yeah, and so I had a great time meeting a lot of these artists. And Mariah is a great example of a person who doesn't look at numbers. So she makes friends with channels of all sizes. But again, she's looking at genuine people. Mm-hmm. So you don't know much about Mariah because you haven't met her. So hopefully one of the times where we do like conferences and things. But the other side is the experiences I had at Vid Summit were very different. There were people that were genuinely assholes, like YouTubers who were genuinely jerks.
Super big ones, right?
Yeah, the really big channels who you were like, hey, this person seems really cool. And again, I know the difference between guarded and shy and asshole. There's a difference. So for me, I did mention them in the previous video, and I did tell you about them.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember any of them.
I think there was one... well, Mr. Beast, I think you said was not very... didn't look fun at all, actually.
You know what it is? I know this is going to sound maybe it's me, but he did not interact with any female creators. And maybe it's because he has a girlfriend and he doesn't want anyone to get the wrong idea. But again, it's like, dude, like, get over your high horse. I'm not interested in you. You guys were talking about anime, and I was genuinely interested in talking about anime.
And then everybody left when you joined the conversation?
Basically, yeah. It was cool. Not far from that. I'm serious. And then the other time...
Did you talk about My Hero Academia maybe too much?
No, I didn't. I didn't even get a chance.
25 minutes of All Might, because that could be it too, you know?
I barely got a chance to talk about anything. But yeah, there was just no genuine interaction with female creators. The other thing is, we actually had a plan. Like, he genuinely confirmed with me before meeting up that we were going to play Mario Kart. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I think you challenged him.
Yeah, I challenged him to Mario Kart. He's like, yes, let's do it. We're on, kind of thing. And then I was snobbed the entire time. So, and the thing is, like, I genuinely just wanted to get to know this guy because in the same way that my sister has Crohn's disease, he also has Crohn's disease. So I'm like, okay, I mean...
And you know people also in common.
Yeah, we do have friends in common.
So it's also not completely out of the blue, kind of like, hey, let's meet up.
My friend introduced me to him, kind of thing. So, I mean, and he said my name, you know, in the promotion video for Vid Summit. So it's like, okay, there's a sense of familiarity. And I think, again, that's the other issue, is that we, even as a viewer, I'm a viewer, but I'm also a YouTuber, quote unquote. I hate calling myself that. But there's a sense of familiarity, right? Because even though you never met Charla, how was it for you meeting her in real life?
It went pretty easily because since I've seen so many videos before of all the content and everything, so you feel like you know them a bit. But it's a one-way street kind of thing because they don't know you. But your first impression is like, hey, I know so much. It's like, I know you like this, I know you like that. You've been there also. What did you think of this part? But it's all because you see all the videos from them.
Yeah, and again, that's why I'm saying, I'm playing both sides here. For those of you listening, again, being person from the other side, there's a sense of familiarity. I'm like, oh, I know Charla. I've seen her in this video. I know what she likes. I know what, you know, her interests are. So it feels like we're friends before she even, you know, got to know me as a person. So when people even stop me sometimes at conferences or, you know, at conventions, they come up to me and they're like, Jackie. And I know this is something I'm still getting used to, is I have to stop looking like an idiot because I freeze. I freeze.
You deer in headlamp.
Yeah, I do. I genuinely just freeze because I don't know. I'm like thinking, was this person a student? That's the first thing that comes up to my head. And I'm like, I never forget a student. So my first instinct really is to say hi and then the student name. But then because it's from YouTube, I have to reprogram myself to not think that I forgot somebody. It's just, you know me and I haven't met you yet. So it's a friend that knows me, but I don't know them yet.
Makes sense, because usually that's what I see when somebody comes and see you. Right away I see hi, and then there's a blank. Then there's a loading screen. I could see you going through all the mental step of seeing, who is this person? Who is this person? Who is this person? Yeah,
and then sometimes it takes Pat to snap me out of it. Like that time when we were at the restaurant. Do you remember? We were at the restaurant and someone came up to me at the breakfast place.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah. At right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so one of you grains came up to me and introduced yourselves, but it went by so quickly that I didn't catch what it was, and I was just staring, and I'm trying to load and he's laughing, and I'm still loading, and then the person introduced themselves again, but I just couldn't catch what it was, and then he looks at me, he's like, from YouTube, from YouTube. I'm like, oh, go say hi, like tap me on the bum, like go. So that for me, that took a while, just to kind of be like, oh, yes, okay, I know you now. So that for me, it takes a while to just get into that mindset of, was this a student? Was this a parent of one of my students? But ultimately, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? The sense of familiarity, but it's, again, a little worrisome for me because I'm worried that I'm not going to live up to someone's expectation.
Or yeah, that makes sense also.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, to have to feel that people have some type of expectation from you from what they see in video, and then you're just grabbing a breakfast.
I'm just grabbing a breakfast.
Have groggy, puffy eyes.
Yeah. That's true.
Needed the second coffee to get rolling.
That's true. Yeah, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I hope I don't disappoint you. Yeah, so I know you know me, but I don't know you yet. So for me, it's like, I want to get to know you. I want to say hi. But again, would I make a good friend?
Depends.
I don't know. So I have this really huge doubt now and hesitation if I can, or if I have it in me to be a good friend. I don't know. Do you think I'm like good friend material? Oh no, the facial expression this guy's doing right now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fixer-upper, but no, jokes aside, I think so. I think the problem is currently you have too much of a guard when you meet people at first, but other than that, I think you would make a good friend. Relatively interesting.
Relatively. But you know what the problem is? Is here's my honest opinion about friendships and my ability to be a friend. A huge part of me grew up very Egyptian, right? And the other part of me is very Canadian. But the way that I interact with people is inherently very Arabic, very Egyptian, very much so the way that if you want the shirt off my back, I will give it to you. But in North America, that translates to desperate.
Yep.
Right?
I think it is.
So some people will be like, great, I can use this person as much as I want. And correct me if I'm wrong, though.
Yeah, no, it is. It is true. I think depending of where you're from, your idea of friendship is also very different. And in North America, it's true that most of the time, especially I think in your YouTube community, as soon as you open a bit of the door for a lot of the people, you become someone that, just promote me, take some videos with me, tag me in videos also.
Yeah.
And that kind of kills it a bit for you.
I can't remember who was it. After meeting them within the same evening, they seemed like really an interesting person to get to know. But then near the end of the evening, they're like, hey, can you promote my YouTube channel? I can't remember who it was. Do you remember?
It wasn't someone from Montreal, actually?
Yeah, it's someone 100% from Montreal. I don't remember who it is. But
yeah, and it was very direct too. I remember it was just like, hey, promote my channel.
Yeah.
Period. And it's not even like, hey, do you think you can promote my channel? It was just like, hey, just promote my channel.
Yeah.
I could use your sub count.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember who it was. Now I remember. I'm not going to name names, but I know exactly who it is. And that person's like, hey, I can use your audience for my channel. And I was like, hell no. You're not taking my people. Like, my people, I protect you from creeps. So I'm like, no, I will not collaborate with you because you want my audience. No, like, I'm not going to use my subscribers for an ultimate gain. And they were willing to pay.
Yeah, it's true.
So you remember all of this. It's slowly coming back to me, Yeah,
it's a few years now, I think.
Yeah.
It's like 3-4 years.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And it similarly with so many emails of sponsors that message me.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we want you to promote X to your audience. I'm like, I'm not going to promote something shady. Are you crazy? You know how many times I've been contacted by Skinny Tea?
What's Skinny Tea?
It's a huge, very super popular product where they promote weight loss, and so many Instagrammers and YouTubers have promoted that tea despite the fact that it's not actually true.
I am.
Yeah, and so they've actually offered me a lot of money. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to be shady like that. I would say on a monthly basis, I refuse at least, I would say between 10 and 20 of those offers. I'm very picky. I know many of you are like, but Jackie, you promote Raid. I actually genuinely like the game. Other than the fact that there's a lot of pop-ups for you to buy stuff, the game is actually, and the mechanics itself is very interesting.
Yeah, it looks good. I didn't play it, but
yeah, not sponsored by Raid today, by the way. Not at all. But yeah,
Me neither.
No, not me neither. If any of you would like to promote Pat, go for it. But yeah, I won't take any shady sponsors because, again, I'm very protective of my audience. Mm-hmm. As an extension of the friends I don't have in my own, in my physical
world
proximity. So I think that's what I'm trying to say is that YouTubers don't make good friends. I don't think I would make a good friend right off the bat because I'm very guarded.
Once you get to know, I mean, like I said before at the beginning of our talk, still the experiences that we had with the people we met in Japan, that's great. And it made some amazing memories and people that we still know actually to date.
Yeah. But again, the idea nowadays is that YouTubers will make friends with people who have, similar size of audience.
True.
Is more prominent than anything. Mm-hmm. So if you have a smaller audience, you're likely to get snobbed. Even though you genuinely could have a friendship with that person. Mm-hmm. The second they look at your number, they're like, nah, bro.
No, you want something.
Yeah. And when it's not the fact. But again, I understand them. That's what I'm saying is I'm kind of like that too because I get so many emails of people just like, hey, let's collab or let's be friends and things like that. And I think...
But eventually she's going to become a good friend.
You think? I don't know if I want. You see, that's what I'm saying. YouTubers do not make good friends. Do I want a friend? The last deep connection I had with a friend, you knew him back then, was someone that we did art together, we joked together, we had so much fun, and we sculpted together. Like, we did everything. We were basically one and the same person. And you really enjoyed that person's company.
Yep. No, he was fun too.
Yeah. And it was just an all-around get-together, and, he would bring, like, food over when I had my knee surgery.
Yeah. We used to do karate together.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of hangout time
together.
It
was family.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were.
It was family.
Yeah, we were really close.
It was more family than anything.
Yeah, it was just such a deep connection and such a deep friendship with that person, and it was a pure friendship. Mm-hmm. And then, for those of you sitting there and be like, shouldn't your husband be your friend? I'm not excluding him. He's not my friend. Not my friend. No, he is my friend. Pat is one of the best companions anyone can ask for. Definitely, absolutely funny. Well, sometimes he thinks he's funny.
Not just think.
And sometimes he thinks he's funny.
You didn't put the bar very high.
Yeah, I laugh easy. I laugh really easy. So, I mean, that's good for his...
Yeah, it's good for my ego.
It's good for your ego.
It twisted my ego with all those years.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the qualities that you look for in a friend? Because he has some really good friends, and he has friends that he plays Magic the Gathering with. Mm-hmm. So you have your friends. But there's no way that he wouldn't call me a friend either. Mm-hmm. But we're not... There's a difference. I hope I hope that we can make that distinction is that...
No, there's a difference. And what's it called? With the friends I have, I think what I personally look for is some people that also wants the best for you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's crazy to see, but it's like sometimes I realize, especially growing up, not now, because as you get older, I find you kind of weed out people that are not helping you out. Well, not that are not helping you out, but that are
toxic.
Not rooting for you.
Yeah. It's true. We had a group of friends that were very unhappy at the fact that we said we bought our first tickets to Japan. Remember that?
Yeah. But that's why we ended up getting people out like that. It's like, it's all fun and stuff until, you get something that they're interested in, and then it's like, it just becomes toxic.
Yeah. It's that sense of, oh, well, we could have done it too.
Yeah. And...
Yeah. But yeah, that's an interesting thing is someone who's rooting for you.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's fun to have people that, you're able to do good in something, and they're just like, they take it else as motivation, and it's like it motivates everyone around to move forward and just be better as a whole, instead of having some people that just try to drag you down.
Yeah.
So I would say it's like, at least for me, that's what is interesting, is someone some people that, what's it called? You can have a good conversation, talk about anything, good laughs, and that are rooting for you. I think these ones are the most interesting that, at least for me, will make a durable friendship long term. That's
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Someone who's like behind you is like gambate, like good luck, you got this.
No, but it's true. It's like it's people were, what's it called? I think even recently I would say it's like around work. I have some of my friends at work and everything, and what's it called? And we all just root for each other, and we ended up all moving forward in our lives. And none of them kind of looks at the other with jealousy. On the other hand, it kind of pushes you. It's like, now it's your turn. Now it's your turn to get there. And
yeah, I think that's one of the most wholesome kind of friendships.
Yeah, because then afterwards you can joke around about it, and
yeah, that's true. And I mean, you have some really good friends and some toxic ones, but you've weeded them out though.
Yeah, I would say with age.
Yeah.
With age, it's really with age that you kind of realize afterwards, and you're kind of like, it's bad to say to a certain thing, but to a certain extent, but a friendship, it's like a give and take, I find. And it's like you give of your time also, and when they need help and everything, but when you have people who are just taking nonstop from the relationship, and you're not really getting anything, at some moment you're kind of like, you know what, I don't mind helping them out, but if they don't want to help themselves out at some moment, I can't do it for them anymore. It's like I can try, but at some moment it's like, you're just a bit on the dragging it down a bit. And it's sad enough, because what's it called? You don't necessarily want to leave those friendships, but at the same time, you don't see it as benefiting for any of us.
I think the only thing that keeps some friendships in circles is nostalgia. You're like, man, we had great memories. Maybe this person's just going through a phase. But if that phase is lasting years and decades, it's not a phase anymore. It's just that person's personality is rotten to the core. Yeah,
because what's it called? At some moment, it's like I had friends like that were really truly my best friends for like years and years, from high school. From high school, afterwards, young adults, and then at some moment it's like it just gets heavy and more heavy and more heavy, and it's like you try to be like, okay, well, maybe I can help you out with something. How, is there something I can do? And then it's like it just continues to drag.
Yeah, it's just bad vibes. Yeah.
And at some point you just realize it's like I'm always walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so at that time, it's like I'm friends with someone that doesn't exist anymore at this point of time.
Yeah, exactly. It's the idea of that friend that lingers in your heart.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, that person ain't no longer there.
Yeah, that's true. That person's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that for me is one of the things that I would love to have, a deep, meaningful friendship. Again, not relationship, because I have that with Pat. I'm talking like a friendship outside of family. It would be nice to be able to share that kind of experience, and someone, to have a weekend out of the city kind of together, camping, or just, hanging out and drawing stupid things. Even though I draw very poorly, so if anyone can draw better than I am, that's definitely a motivation. I think that would be great at some point. I don't know if I'm ready for it emotionally.
I think you need to be ready to a certain extent. And I think, what's it called? Maybe that's where, I think obviously with some of the friends you made, if they would be closer to us, I think you would be really close.
Yeah, I can name a handful of them that I would love to be close by in person. Time to move. They're all in different parts of the U.S. I am not moving to the U.S. Sorry, Americans. And I think with that said, this is the perfect time to sign off. Thank you for listening to Coffee and Conversation. I'm Jackie.
I'm Patrick.
And we'll see you in the next video.